What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video, as you can see in today's title, is Can Ireland dethrone the All Blacks from the #1 spot in the Rugby World Rankings? Now these two magnificent rugby nations are going to go head to head in Dublin in November, and we're going to see who will be the #1. They won't just get it just yet, because there's still 2 games that the All Blacks need to play, and something needs to happen in order for Ireland to do it. But in this video we're going to chat a bit about that. But before we get to the business of today, if you're new here and haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button down below so you can join this family. And also next to the subscribe button is the bell icon. Turn it on so you can also get notified for all future uploads. So much rugby to come. The big goal of 10k by the end of the year of subscribers. I think it's a big ask, but even if we get close, I'll be a happy man. So hit that subscribe button, join the gang, and we will get to it because there's so much rugby to come. Let's get to the topic. Now these two fantastic rugby nations are going head to head in Dublin, as mentioned. Now Ireland have had a dream here. They really have. Six Nations champions, Grand Slam champions, as well as beating Australia for the first time in many years in Australia, which was also quite an accomplishment for them. They have gone on in the provincial level to also dominate European rugby by winning the Pro 14 as well as the European Champions Cup. They also headed off the weekend of the round 1 of the Champions Cup by their provincial teams showing that they're still here, that they're still on the prowl, that they're still hungry to win, which is awesome to see as a rugby fan, because Ireland, if you can remember, weren't the strongest team. They're always a force to be reckoned with, but you never fear them. And I think they've definitely earned that feared title because they have had an outstanding year. They've come a long way. Credit to Healy, credit to Joe Schmidt. The leadership within the Irish squad has really been magnificent, and they've brought this team to a total new level, which is really exciting to see. Now you've heard what I had to say about the All Blacks, and if you haven't already checked that video, click on the icon above so you can check it out. But as you know, I have the utmost respect for All Black rugby and what they've achieved, where they've been, and how they've dominated World Rugby. It has really been remarkable, and the same goes for Ireland. I have the utmost respect for them as well, especially of where they've come and what they've achieved and where they've grown and the path they are on. It is truly amazing. And if you're a rugby fan, obviously you're going to be biased towards your country. You're going to want your country to dominate. But if you're a rugby fan, you want to see competitive rugby. And for me, that is the #1. Seeing competitive game between South Africa and the All Blacks was a highlight for me. Seeing tight games between Argentina and South Africa, Argentina coming up, was a highlight for me. Watching Scotland also show up and produce competitive rugby is truly remarkable. Wales, coming from a terrible year last year, moving up and now competing again. It's truly remarkable. All the countries, really, they're showing up. Besides, obviously, England and Australia that aren't in a hot place at the moment, but I'm quite confident they're going to bounce back. Now, speaking of England, last year, this time, we were all talking about the big game for next year. The big game, England versus New Zealand. Eddie Jones versus Steve Hansen, 2 of the greatest coaches, genius minds, going 1-on-1 against each other, and it really was piping up to be a great game. But then England, from going on the top, just went on a little dive and started struggling. They had a shocking Six Nations tournament where they just didn't show up. They had an unfortunate series against South Africa. They did show a bit of hope, but they lost the Test series in South Africa, where a lot of people predicted England to take out South Africa, but that wasn't to be. And that whole talk of England, New Zealand faded away, and it got replaced with Ireland versus New Zealand. Now these 2 nations are going to kick off in November, and there's an opportunity for Ireland to dethrone the All Blacks. Now in order for them to dethrone the All Blacks will need to either lose against England or Australia. And that is going to be a big ask, because we all know the All Blacks, we all know how strong they are, how competitive they are, and they're not going to want to give up the #1 spot that easy. Now, a lot of people are saying they're going to be building and focusing and restructuring their team in order to bring them to the level, competitive level of the Rugby World Cup, which will definitely be the case and will definitely be happening. But they're going to know that they're going to want to hold on to the world #1 spot for as long as they can. They're not going to give it up that easy. They're not going to go into this Ireland contest and even England contest and sit back and relax and fool around and lose the game on purpose. That's not going to happen. It's not the All Black way. They want to win. They want to dominate. They want to continue their progression into being the best rugby team in the world, which they are. They really are. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I reckon they're going to give it their all against Ireland. And I think Ireland are going to give it just as much power and passion to the All Blacks as well. They're a strong nation and they've come a long way. And the battles that I'm most excited to see are, if Dane Coles is back, maybe Dane Coles or Cody Taylor versus Healy. We've got Conor Murray versus, I was going to say Faf de Klerk versus Aaron Smith or TJ Perenara. We've got Johnny Sexton versus Beauden Barrett, and that is the key battle that I'm really excited for. I'm curious to see what's going to happen between these two brilliant fly-offs. I did a video before and it was a little controversial because obviously the All Black fans came out fighting for their Beauden Barrett, but also I gave credit to Johnny Sexton because he's come a long way and he's carried Ireland. He's helped Ireland get to the next level, and for that I gave him credit. Conor Murray, Aaron Smith, two different scrum halves, but equally brilliant and equally a key factor in helping their country win rugby games, helping their country go to the next level, and they are a key. Without them, they have a little bit of an issue. If you look at Conor Murray, without Conor Murray, there's a problem in Ireland. Without Johnny Sexton, there's a problem. Yes, there are replacements that are there that are capable of being on a competitive level. But if you look at the All Blacks, without Aaron Smith, there's TJ Perenara, who is brilliant. Without Beauden Barrett, there's Richie Mo'unga. There's Damien McKenzie. It's actually terrifying, the caliber and the backup that the All Blacks have. And that Ireland need to remember and go in focused to know that an All Black bench is just the first team as well. An All Black third team is just like the first team as well. They have every opportunity at capitalising. They have every opportunity at dominating, and Ireland need to be aware of that. Now, I believe Ireland can beat the All Blacks, but in order to beat the All Blacks, they've got to play 80-minute rugby. They're going to play more than 80-minute rugby, 85, because the All Blacks can win in the 81st, the 82nd, 83rd, 84th, 85th, 86th. We've seen games go long over 80. And we've seen the All Blacks beat teams in the 82nd minute. South Africa is a very good example. Twice in a row. Well, not twice in a row, but South Africa last year and in South Africa again. They played a full 80 minutes, and that's where we need to watch. Well, Ireland need to watch them. Now, we've seen Ireland also win in the 82nd minute when they beat France, drop goal to win. That was the start of an incredible campaign. They could have lost that game and we might have seen something a bit different. But we'll never know, because Ireland won and had the greatest Six Nations that they've had in a very, very long time. So for me, to wrap up this conversation, Ireland versus New Zealand. Can Ireland dethrone the All Blacks? I really think they can. I don't think they will lose to Australia, but I'll save my thoughts on that for next week. Maybe they can have a little fright against England, but it's going to be tough. I do see Ireland, however, beating the All Blacks in Dublin. It's going to be tough. It's going to be close. Ireland need to be fit. They need to be strong. They need to be determined. But they need to show up and play a full game. But, again, You can never count out the All Blacks, because they're going to know that these opportunities are on the line for Ireland. They're going to know they have a chance at losing the world #1 spot. So yes, it's in their favour, but they're not going to want to lose just like that. They're going to want to show up and prove a point to the critics, prove a point to the fans that they are still the mighty All Blacks, prove a point to the world that they are the best in the world for a reason. Now, I always say, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And I reckon Ireland could beat the best. I think they've got the caliber, the team, the squad to do it, to take them forward. They just need to be calm. They need to play one step at a time. They need to be fit. And they need to show up. Because if they don't, the All Blacks are going to wallop them. And that is the scary thing about this team. You let them have one break, they will capitalize. And they will sense a weakness, they will capitalize. They will target the stars in order to put pressure, to make them nervous, to give them, the opponent, a scare. But also, Ireland could do the same. They're going to know there's a weakness in Beauden Barrett's kicking. They're going to know that Aaron Smith wasn't the strongest in the Rugby Championship. So they're going to target those boykies, but they're also going to know that the All Blacks have a backup. They have a backup plan in order to conquer and dominate. And that is so important in World Rugby. That is an important key going forward. And that will be a deciding factor of whether the All Blacks will win or lose the title. Now, last year we saw the All Blacks lose to Australia in the final Bledisloe game. Could it happen again? Anything is possible. We must also not forget that, yes, New Zealand might not give it their absolute all against Australia, but we must also not forget that Australia are going to want to prove a point. The Wallabies are going to want to show that they can get better, and they're going to want to kick off the end of year tour on a positive note. Yes, it's a Bledisloe game, but they're going to want to warn the teams that they're going to play at the end of the year. Watch out. We are coming for you, and we are going to be competitive. Michael Checker's backside is on the line. He's going to want to show up and beat Steve Hansen's Chargers. Anything is possible. I think it's in, is it Tokyo? Or Tokyo or America? One of the two countries. Big difference, I know. But it's a massive, massive game for Australia. So All Blacks can't be caught sleeping, or they're going to take it. And if they win, Ireland have a very good chance of dethroning the All Blacks. And England, don't count them out, because they are hurting and they're going to want revenge. And who better to have revenge than the All Blacks? So it's going to be an outstanding November India tour. It's going to be epic, and I am going to be reporting on them all. So make sure you are subscribed. If you're a New Zealand fan, subscribe. If you're an Irish fan, subscribe. If you're a fan of rugby, subscribe. If you're a fan of all rugby nations, subscribe. Because there's so much more content to come, and you do not want to miss it out. That I promise you. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, like I said, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. Follow me on all my social media channels so you can keep up to date with what I'm doing on my personal side of life. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Links are down below, and I'll see you guys real soon for another video. Stay safe and get excited. Rugby is around the corner. Cheers. Never give up. Cheers.